Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich. Now, last time we hopped in to the world of Kaiserreich, we hopped in as a tiny little nation of Nepal. And despite both pressure from the British Raj and the Calcutta Socialists, we managed to stand strong, restore our true rightful monarch to the throne, and we even managed to have a little fun and kick a little butt in the meanwhile, alongside our new Japanese overlords, allies. So I had quite a bit of fun with that, but I want to hop into a bit of a little meteor nation, I suppose. And so I went ahead and put up a poll. Now, I've been away on vacation for a little bit, but I knew as soon as I came back I was going to want to play some more and record. So I put up to a poll for you guys, which if you didn't see the poll, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you make sure to keep updated with all the polls as well as anything else. So we had 4 options, and as you can tell, one clearly prevailed over the others. This is not even remotely close. But, the will of the people is the will of the people, and nobody guessed Nepal, so they didn't get a free Instapick out of these 4 to change it up anyway. Because I did promise that right here at the bottom. Granted, I don't know if many people would have suspected I went with Nepal, so it's kind of an uphill battle, but, next time we have one of these polls, I'll see if we can't get something going. So keep an eye out on these polls in the future if you are interested in having a bit more of a direct say, either as part member democracy or, depending on the setup, being able to potentially override democracy. So we are going to be hopping in to the nation of Italia. And, well, I had 2 options out of there. There was Venice, and there was the Socialist Republic of Italy. And, well, quite frankly, I am not in a headspace, game-wise, or really anywhere to deal with the tensions and tedium of playing Venice right now. So, we're going to be hopping in and playing in the Third International, which I don't know if I've actually done that much. Fleet nations that joined the Third International. Granted, I don't think these guys start in the Third International at the start immediately anymore. But we're hopping in with the Socialist Republic of Italy. Since the Italian Civil War, the Socialist Republic of Italy has controlled the bulk of Italy. Its rulers know full well that it would have overrun the Republicans and the Whites had it not been for the infernal interference of the Austria and the pressure applied by Germany. Even today, it is the specter of interference by Germany and Austria which keeps syndicalism from finishing off the last remnants of old Italy. The nation bides its time, building up its strength, and is fully aware that, once the scales tip, it shall tip in the favor of revolution. Beautiful. So we're going to be hopping in to the Socialist Republic of Italy. I'm not going to mess around with anything else. Just going to hop in and see what we can't get done. I got my timer set. Let us go ahead and get to it. Hope you all are doing well out there today on this lovely day. Slowly, I might end it at least. Well, that's 10:30 at night, and I'm trying not to wake anyone up in the house. But what are you gonna do? Yeah. So, I did a lot of driving today, both as a passenger and as a driver. So it's nice to just be able to sit back and do nothing. Well, not nothing. We're gonna lead the Republic to glory. Yeah, we are the Republic, actually. I was gonna say, well, there's this republic, and then there are these guys who can be somewhat democratic potentially, but you know, it's a whole other thing, isn't it? Anywho, I think the last time we hopped in to play Italy, it was Sardinia when it got the rework. But the problem with Sardinia when it got the rework, it didn't get the full sort of Italian facelift that later came. So if you wanted to take back anything there, which usually your first go would be to take out the Socialist, well, you had to go war for the Third International, and that kicked off the Weltkrieg, which made it kind of miserable to play, I'm not going to lie. So I'm very, very much glad that we don't have to deal with that anymore. Anyway, here we go. I'll go ahead and start my timer now. In 1919, Italy concluded an armistice with the Austrians, permitting Austrian forces to occupy Lombardy and Venetia, pending a formal peace settlement. The subsequent Treaty of Vicenza was humiliating, fair, disgracing both the nation and the old political order. Within mere days, brave socialists and nationalists in Italy rose up against the destructive Savoyards, determined to replace their system with something better. Even King Victor Emmanuel and his son's abdication was not enough to stop the will of the people. And civil war broke out all over Italy. Even as we pushed the royalists out of northern Italy, however, there were traitors in our ranks. The whites in the Republican uprising, unwilling to accept the inevitability of the revolution, broke off our movement and soon sold themselves out completely to the Austrians. With our enemies all united against us, our advances were halted on the Po and on the Abruzzo line, and the war was over. Since the ceasefire in 1920, the political situation has changed. Following the moderate Unionist failure to capture the fall of the Italian Federation in 1927, the Nationalists and the FAR, calling on the legacy of Gabriele D'Annunzio, who died fighting the Austrians in 1919, started a march towards political dominance. By 1931, this effectively eroded the trade union's stranglehold on Parliament, leaving them with a slight majority. When this majority collapsed in 1934, President Gualtieri overcame his constitutional bounds to appoint a president's cabinet led by the FAR leader, Benito Mussolini. Obscure figure in our timeline, of course. I doubt you guys know him. Mussolini himself has been acting way more autonomously than expected. While constantly growing his influence, many look with apprehension at the coming 36 elections, unsure what the future may bring to the Socialist Republic. Hold on, I've had this issue before. Let's go back. Now we have the issue of uniting Italy. Italian nationalists have already begun the call for a second risorgimento to unify Italy once more. Spreading the revolution will not be a simple matter, however. The peninsula exists in an uneasy balance. Germany and Austria are wary of any formal alliance between the SRI and the Third International. They know an alliance is inevitable, but any attempts on our part to bring the French and British into a war to reunite Italy under syndicalist rule would draw on intervention and start a new Weltkrieg. The Republic of Italy to the east is protected by Austria, but under a similar prohibition against starting war against us. As long as the prospect of German and Austrian interference remains, we must be aware that any war to reunite Italy can only be done with limited Third International support. We have not made a move yet, but we cannot sit idly for much longer. Italy must be reunited. Let us continue. And that kind of describes the mechanic well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we don't start in the Third International at the start anymore. Instead, it's a pretty small faction at the start. You have... Actually, it's very small. Smaller than I realized. Look at that. But, you know, there's about to be some funky stuff that kicks off. So perhaps some things could change. Alright. How do we want to handle this? Let's get a general going. We'll get some socialist officers. We also have fascist officers, that's right. I don't know who I want to start with. So let's just start with the best and then take it from there. Let's start with Ettore Troilo. And for Field Marshal, we will go with and Mondo Rossoni. Sure thing. Got a fairly standard start. We got 3 research slots to start off with, which is quite nice. We'll start off with our usual tech and construction boost. And then we have quite a nice industrial base to start off with. No wonder we got all the good industrial stuff. I guess Lombardy would also be quite nice as well. But we got the Piedmont, we got Emilia, we got Tuscany, and we got Umbria, which will start building some civilian factories there, as well as in Marche, and then one in Romagna. And then from there, we'll get working on some military factories. Now, before I continue, I'll go ahead and issue an apology out to any Italians who are watching this series. I can barely speak English, much less Italian, so I'm probably going to get a fair few pronunciations wrong. I apologize for that. I'm going to try my best. Can I switch to... There we go. Go ahead and put that back on to the start. And here, this is where we start. Socialist Republic of Italy. So starting off, we have our president, Giuseppe Grilli. The first my Italian pronunciation, my experience of Italian language goes The Sopranos. So we might be here a while. Galtieri. There we go. Paulie Galtieri. Giglietti, I think, was born in Emilia-Romagna to a poor fisherman's family. After graduating in the Nautical Institute, he pursued a career in the merchant marine. During his military service in the Navy, he came into contact with anarchist and socialist circles in LaGuardia. He became affiliated with the Italian Federation of Sea Workers as well as the Socialist Party, the PSI, just after he concluded his service in 1903. After becoming the leader of the Federation in 1906, he became a key figure in the unification of all naval workers into one big union, which was achieved in just 4 years. He came in conflict with the PSI after expanding the executive powers of the newly created union in 1913, even more so when he supported Italian entry into the Weltkrieg alongside Mussolini. During the Weltkrieg, he became an officer in the Navy and played a key role in confirming the availability of the merchant marine, leading to the creation of a dock workers co-op in Genoa in 1918. The Italian Civil War saw him join the Republican side, from which he supported the Socialist wing, inspired by brave martyrs like D'Annunzio, who fought to keep Austrian influence away from Italy, became a major advocate of an aggressive militarization policy, seen as a necessary component of syndicalist Italy's survival. He finally became president in 1931, though disagreements with his less militaristic syndicalist comrades led him to an agreement including Mussolini's fascists in 1934. On the eve of elections in 1936, it looks like Gualtieri may have inadvertently legitimized Mussolini to the Italian population, leading to a larger fascist movement than may have otherwise happened. While this is a worthwhile sacrifice for a larger degree of militarization, only time will tell. So we have 3 little focuses to look at. First off, we have the precarious balance, which I believe is a peninsula-wide focus, plus Sardinia. As it stands, Italy is perched uncomfortably between the great powers of Europe. Each of the various governments have foreign sponsors who could potentially intervene in a renewed Italian civil war, but all of these sponsors understand that to do so would provoke their rivals and risk drawing the entire continent into conflict. Their mutual unwillingness to take this gambit has helped ensure the peninsula's continued division. This balance of power persists. All foreign aid to Italy thus far has been kept at arm's length, only to the level of material and expertise. As long as no state directly enters an Italian conflict, it will remain this way. However, if the foreign alliance does enter such a war, then all bets are off, and all other sponsors can be expected to join suit. It's a very interesting dynamic we got going on. Do we have any party descriptions? We don't. We just have normal syndicalism. Meanwhile, we have the Danusian Coalition, which gives us a pretty big hit to political power outright, as well as some war support and daily totalist support, or fascist in this sense, I suppose. Since 1934, the Socialist Republic has been governed by President Gualtieri and Prime Minister Mussolini, ruling together in a nationalist and still internationalist fashion, evoking images of the great patriotic revolutionary martyr Gabriele D'Annunzio. In spite of all the propaganda, it's clear that the myth of D'Annunzio isn't nearly enough to solidify the government of a revolutionary nation. In addition, there are fears that Mussolini is working behind the scenes to erode our revolutionary democracy. We only have 2 months to find out, don't we? Finally, we have the Italian Chetniks. Formed in 1919, the clandestine military front, dubbed the Italian Chetniks by Togliatti, is the organ tasked with the organization of the stranded royalist units in mainland Italy to an effective Sabine unit to help the return of the House of Savoy. Operating in the more conservative areas of the country, but also in southern Piedmont and with significant Swiss support in the Val di Ossola, they remain a powerful agent of reaction embedded within what is ostensibly our territory. Rough stuff. We have a couple options here. We have the Risorgimento, which we can't do anything until we get a focus finished up. But Italy has been divided since the Italian Civil War in 1920. Monarchists, socialists, republicans, and exiles glare at each other from behind their fortifications. In the face of this division, few are certain of Italy's swift reunification. God willing, however, we shall soon reunite all Italians into a new Risorgimento, like that of Cavour and the Savoyards 70 years ago. Beautiful. We also have reform policy, which we will get there when we get there. In the meanwhile, we have a few options, really. We have some marine stuff we could get to working on, which I'm not overly worried about immediately. We also have the economy stuff. So we have the Enel or the Eletro Treno Rapido, which is trains. Trains sound kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. Electricity might be needed to get those going. So let's start with creating Enel, get a building slum civilian factory going. Even after the revolution, electricity provisions has been left to regional companies. No more. Better efficiency will be achieved with the formation of one national energy body. Fair enough. And before we continue any longer, I want to go ahead and check if we have any achievements to go to. So we could get no workers ever heard of syndicalism, get syndicalist support over that much. Okay. We have Bandiera Rossa, which we have to reinvite Italy and ensure no rival government exists. Easy enough. And the road to redemption, as Italy own all of the unredeemed lands. I'm not quite sure what those are. I'm gonna guess that's gonna be Trieste, Istria, Tyrol, probably Dalmatia and the coast along here, if I had to guess. Okay. Okay, this should be doable, I imagine. It doesn't seem for most of these that we need to worry necessarily about which faction we want to go down. But if I want to go with the normal syndicalist one, we might want to go ahead and work with or stay with the syndicalists. Which we have some options. We could go over to the fascist side, which could be interesting. Seems a little on the nose, considering history, but we could. I am tempted to go down this just to go for the achievement, if nothing else. But, you know, we can get there when we get there. We still have a couple months for that to kick off. So, let's get the show on the road, formally. Oh, I saw Chile wanted a non-aggression pack, and they just quickly got rid of that. Real quick, I'm gonna get my some guys ready for volunteers, and probably I'll go ahead. I'll split these guys up into a different. That's not what I wanted to do. A little rusty still. There we go. These guys have the tanks. I'll give you guys to Attilo. You guys can go on this border. And you guys can take your butts and go to this border on the Po. I'm not worried about this border over here. The French are going to be our friends, more likely than not. Mosley wants to talk with Mussolini. Oswald Mosley of the Union of Britain has invited the chairman of the Fascio di Azione Rivoluzionaria, Benito Mussolini, to Birmingham to discuss the common ground between their ideologies. Mussolini thanked him for the invite and set off in the name of internationalism. Off you go, Benito. Sorry. Birmingham is in the capital. I know it can become the capital, if I'm not mistaken, of the UOB. I'll speak of the devil. The Totalist Charter. Mussolini, Valois, Herzog, and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss their common ground. It has been agreed that Maximism, Sorelianism, and National Syndicalism all share basic principles of a state's primacy in the social struggle, the roles of national identity within the state, and the importance of a strong central authority to preserve and build socialism. The Charter also claims that the socialist state is the final stage of human development, and that democracy is not necessary to achieve socialism. These statements have drawn great criticism from other socialist factions, who gave the name totalism as a play on totalitarian socialism, which has been eagerly accepted by Mosley, who added to the manifesto's name, attributing it to their total commitment to socialism. Let's hope the people reject this madness. Ooh. Well, he's kind of complicated things with that, hasn't he? When left for Britain, we thought the Mussolini and Mosley summit would simply be one of pleasantries and diplomacy. Instead, Mussolini went ahead and put his signature on Mosley's latest invention, the ideology of totalism. Some naive functionaries believe nothing has changed. From the start, Mussolini subscribed to fascist ideology in the 1919 Fascist Manifesto. And the fact that he now has international allies changes nothing on the internal front. However, this was yet another enormously publicized autonomous action without presidential endorsement, complicating President Guglielmitti's position, as when he broke constitutional norms to appoint Mussolini, he was supposedly appointing a president's cabinet acting on his orders. The 1936 elections drawing ever closer. Appears Gualtieri's tenure as the president may be reaching its end, as, having alienated most moderates through his breach of constitutional norms and having lost much ground to supposed Puppet Mussolini, won't be able to gain the goodwill to appoint another president's cabinet anytime soon. Well, how will we form a government now? Well, that's the funny thing. We don't. But hey, we got some stuff going on. Oh, look at that. Over the past few days, the workers and peasants of the world have watched as the bankers, capitalists, and tyrants scrabble to reap the benefits of the workers' labor for their own selfish gains. They call it Black Monday, a terrible event, they say. They say that such a collapse was completely uncalled for, something no economist could have predicted. Of course, the workers are no fools. The people see through their lies. As the great philosopher Karl Marx predicted, such collapses are an inevitable result of capitalism. As the capitalist abuses and reaps the benefits of workers, they begin to eat themselves alive like rabid dogs. All this as they leave their workers to struggle and die by the wayside as they scramble for the last piece of meat. One nation, however, has decoupled itself from the capitalist world and has begun the construction of a true people state. Therefore, remain unaffected and can only watch as the nations of the world are eaten alive by their capitalist overlords. This is a great awakening for the peasants and the workers of the world, and soon the workers of these nations will begin to organize against their oppressors. We must stand by and stand tall as a true example for the workers of the world. Workers of the world, unite. Excellent. Got Inel. And then we could get working on... Got a couple options, don't we? I think what we're going to want to work on, or at least put a lot of effort into, is going to be our Navy. I can imagine. Yeah, I think naval construction is going to be the play for us. Because we want to make sure we can keep off the French or any of the Italians from any naval invasions and keep them from doing anything slick. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Istituto di Studi Militari Marittimi. To lead ship to victory, knowledge of tactics, engineering, and logistics is necessary for higher-level officers. Establishing a new institute researching and teaching these topics will ensure a key edge over the other navies on the peninsula. There we go. How are we doing production-wise off the bat, by the way? Oh, we got some stuff going. Yeah, it's going okay. I think I'll go ahead. Off the bat, I'll trade to get some steel. We'll trade with the commune, our syndicalist brethren. Interesting. These guys are withdrawing. Qing hegemony shatters. Interesting. I'm curious what the Italian Republic is going to do. If they go national populist, that'll usually be quite interesting. Because they may or may not opt to go after Austria immediately. I remember when the focus tree for this first came out, they had to go to a war with Austria immediately, and most of the time the AI just butchered it, which was always pretty funny, admittedly. But it's a lot different now. And there are obviously some options here, though it's not as elaborate as some of these other ones are. But hey, what are we gonna do? Well, I know we're gonna kick their asses. Traders of the Revolution, So these are 9 infantries. Okay, these are actually okay units at the start. Electoral gridlock in Britain. Interesting. We also have the Third International, Syndicalist in Australia, or Australasia now, excuse me. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, well, with the 1920 Constitution creating a unicameral parliament formed of candidates elected from both unions and popular vote, the Parliament of the Socialist Republic was always something of a mess. It has never been as messy as it is from today. It appears the unions have lost even more ground than expected. They have led much support to both the heavily parliamentarist actionists and the fascists, and have outright lost their absolute majority for the first time in the history of the Socialist Republic. In this new climate, President Gualtieri tried to return to the world's constitutional head of state, and then try to have a parliamentary government formed, however, with the unions blaming him for their poor results and the actions of refusing to work under the president who broke constitutional norms to appoint a nationalist government. Negotiations soon stalled. While there may yet be a path to a working government, there certainly is no path forward for Guglielmi, which is good, so we can stop butchering his name. While negotiations must start rapidly, we don't want another election. Do we get an option? Building a new government. Okay. So we'll probably go ahead and finish up. We'll finish up this focus here, because we only have a couple days. Stephen, huh? Which one is Stephen? I only vaguely... I know the popes are different. Okay, so he's not the Nat Pop Pope. Okay. That could have been fun thematically, but that's probably for the best. Let's start working on building a new government. Guglielmi's social nationals experiment has clearly failed, causing parliamentary gridlock in the wake of the new elections. We must, however, not show weakness. A new governing solution must be found. Well, we'll see how that ends up going, huh? Ooh. Well, the Third International. France has gone... excuse me. France has gone through with its designs to hold the 9th Congress of the Third International, and we, as expected, have received an invitation. We'd be foolish not to send a delegation. Well, we better start packing. Meanwhile, today the great statesman Filippo Turati has passed away at the age of 79. Filippo Turati was one of the last surviving founders of the Italian Socialist Party. His strong and constant support for the rights of the workers of Italy from his earliest days has made him famous throughout the Republic. In addition to founding the Socialist Party of Italy, he was also one of the principal architects of the Constitution of the Socialist Republic of Italy. The funeral in Torino was attended by visitors from nations around the world and officials from across the political spectrum, all paying their respects to the late great leader, as various labor songs were sung, including Inno dei Lavoratori, which he penned himself. The passing of a torch. Who that torch will be passed to? We'll have to wait until next time to find out, because I'm going to have to leave things here. But I thank you as always for watching, my friends. If you like this video, like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments or feedback, leave in the comment section below. I read all comments I get, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check my various links down in the description box below. Leaving comments down in the comment section below. I appreciate all the feedback you might have for me. To keep up to date with uploads as they come out, hit the sub button and the notification bell. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there. But I thank you as always for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. DB333, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.